Hello there, everyone, and welcome to tonight's New York Tech Meetup. I am your guest host, Georgie-Ann, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about myself in just a moment. For tonight, we'll be celebrating our Black male founders for tonight's demo night, and I also want to say a shout out and a celebration to International Women's Day. And we just connected the dots, right? We're in this COVID season where everything, time and space does not connect. And so we realized today was also International Women's Day, and we just connected it today. We have a wonderful lineup of founders for you guys, and that will be coming up in just a moment. But as usual, I want to go over a few important details of our demo night. So I'm your host, Georgie-Ann Getton, and I am the CEO and founder of GSD Solutions. I am also one of the New York Tech Meetup board members, and I'll be guest hosting for tonight's demo night. Again, it is Black male founders, and our demos include Devon Dixon from BingeWave, Hampton from TurnSignl, Boris Moyston from Fundr, as well as Neville Louison from Soulful, Silverback. And we have a great lineup of founders, and we'll be getting to the demo in just a few moments after I do a little bit of housekeeping for you all. So as usual, the New York Tech Alliance presents to you the New York Tech Meetup, and the goal of the New York Tech Alliance is to be a driving force, right? Driving access, equity, and inclusion in the New York Tech ecosystem and economy. And you can learn a lot more about us and what we do here at the New York Tech Meetup and the New York Tech Alliance by just going to nytech.org. Again, I'm your guest host, and if you ever want to reach out to me, Georgie at GSD Solutions Inc. is my direct email, or just add me on LinkedIn. Always happy to connect and talk all things New York Tech ecosystem. Just as a quick privacy statement, we do record our events and we share them on our social media channels. So just know, for those who are unable to attend, this event will be recorded. I want to also give a big thank you to our annual sponsors who make each and every one of our events possible. And they each have a presence on our website if you'd like to learn more about them. Again, if you go over to nytech.org/partners, you'll learn a lot more about our continuous sponsors. We have some more upcoming events this month, including 3 insights to influence your leadership, culture, connect, and competence. That's going to be on March 8th at 11:30 a.m. Then we have our Founder Spotlight, which I am guest hosting one more time, featuring Dipali Vyas. She is the founder of Fearless Plus. That's going to be happening on March 31st at 12 p.m. And you can check out all of our upcoming events if you go over to nytech.org/or_events. And then if you're planning an event and you want us to share it with our network, head on over to nytech.org/events and post your community events that are upcoming there as well. If you're watching tonight, or if you're watching the replay, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you could watch past instances of the New York Tech Meetup. For every month when we do this meetups for years now, we have all those videos up on our YouTube channel, where you could find it at youtube.com/nytechalliance. And you could connect with us on social media at nytechalliance and use our hashtag. If you're tweeting, putting on Instagram for what's happening tonight, just share it on social, and we'll be happy to connect and retweet and like those comments. Some other ways to support the New York Tech Alliance is to add a donation when you RSVP for one of our virtual events. The New York Tech Alliance is a nonprofit organization, and so we really appreciate any donations that we could get. Then the second way is become an individual sponsor or a corporate sponsor of the New York Tech Alliance. And you could also just make a simple small donation on our website at any point, not directly connected to an event. To talk more about these partnerships and sponsorship opportunities, you could always reach out to us. Just head on over to nytech.org/sponsor/support_NYTA. Or ask during the demo. So, right, when we're doing this event, we ask you to use the Q&A area of AirMeet to post your questions for our demoers. The demoers are going to have a few minutes to present their company, and then I will be asking them the questions that you guys post on AirMeet. The second thing is no questions related to business models, right? Or revenue generation. This is solely about the technology and the problem that it solves. So whatever the company is doing and the problem that it's solving. Be attentive and present, be kind and respectful. Again, we are here to support the New York tech community and just the tech community as a whole. So let's all be really kind and generous and supportful and respectful to each other. Another special shout out to our sponsor, Xandr. Xandr enables us to deliver this meetup virtually and helps us connect the tech community. Xandr is always looking for the best talent to include in their company. And if you would like an introduction, please send a request to Doug, D-O-U-G, at nytech.org, and he can make a direct introduction on your behalf. So with all this housekeeping now complete, we are super excited to dive right into tonight's demos. So first, I would like to invite Jazz Hampton up from TurnSignl. So Jazz, if you want to go ahead, and I'm going to stop sharing and you can go ahead and share, and you have a few minutes. And when I pop back up, that means time is up and we have our Q&A.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. And I'll get to sharing here. And actually, I'm going to be sharing my screen, but I'm going to start with a video that explains exactly what TurnSignl is so you all can see it before I dive into this deck. Again, my name is Jazz Hampton, and I am the co-founder of TurnSignl. And this is an idea of exactly what our app is and what we're doing in community.
TurnSignl is a real-time app that facilitates and records law enforcement interactions during traffic stops and accidents. If you are pulled over, simply launch the TurnSignl app, and with a press of a button or a voice command, you'll be automatically connected to an attorney. Hi, Thomas. I'm an attorney with TurnSignl. I'm here to protect your rights and get you home safely.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Can I see a license registration?
Yeah, no problem. Can I get out of my pocket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's that?
I'm an attorney with TurnSignl, and I'll be guiding this interaction. TurnSignl is not a police monitoring app. We help de-escalate police-citizen interactions during accidents and traffic stops. Our goal is to get everyone home safe.
All right. And so from there, I'll jump right into the actual deck that explains a little bit more about who we are and what brought us here. So my name is Jazz Hampton, and as I said, I'm going to start presenting here. I can't seem to go full screen. There we go. And I'm what I like to call a recovering litigator. So I've practiced law for the last 5 years, and prior to practicing law, my undergrad degree was in computer science. I co-founded TurnSignl with Andre and Mike. I've known them both for well over a decade. They've known each other for their entire lives. And our mission is simple. It's to protect drivers' civil rights, to de-escalate these roadside interactions. And third and most important is to make sure both drivers and law enforcement officers return home safely at the end of every day. How we do it and why we do it is clear. We're all born and raised in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, which is known as the epicenter for a call for social change. In fact, Philando Castile was the first marker of an incident that ended tragically that reached national news. And Andre and Mike actually grew up playing sports with the Castile family. In fact, they went to J.J. Hill where Philando worked. Then we saw George Floyd happen, and we started saying, we see the visuals, we see the protests. How can we be a part of the solution? And that's when we built TurnSignl just over 18 months ago. We're live in Minnesota, Georgia, and California, and we hope to be live to cover the entire United States here by the Q1 of 2023. That's the high level, and how it works, as you saw in that presentation. You connect in real time with an attorney. It records with that front-facing camera during the entire interaction, and then at the end of that, it saves to the cloud. So whether your phone is broken, lost, damaged, stolen, or anything in between, it saves it to the cloud so you can always pull it down to have not only the recording of what happened in the car, but what the attorney was saying on the phone with you in that moment. We talk about our users, and we talk about 3 personas of users on our app right now, with the well over 1,000 folks that we have had here in the first several months. Protective Paul is a persona we talk about being a parent. and as a 16, 17, 26-year-old child that maybe is going off to school every day when they're driving, and they're worried about them, whether they're being pulled over or in an accident, which you can also use the app for when you've been in an accident. I always say when I was 16 years old and I was in a car crash, the first thing I did was try to call my dad. But not only was he working at the time, but he was a mail carrier and he couldn't answer, but he also wasn't really sure what I should be doing in that moment. So now we can put not only someone in the car with your loved one, but a person who really knows what you should and shouldn't be doing in that moment to de-escalate that interaction. The same with Careful Courtney. That's my wife's name, and she's from a small town in Minnesota where she's been in an accident where she can't see anyone for 2 miles in either direction. Same with being pulled over. An unsettling proposition for her to be in by herself. So we're connecting with these folks to say, hey, we can be here with you and your loved ones. I say all that to say it's so much more than targeted Tony, which is the persona we use for a person of color that statistically has higher interaction with law enforcement. In Minnesota, 7 times more likely to be the recipient of a use of force. Of course, that was a genesis of this platform, but what we've learned is there's so many more folks that have a need for what we're offering here with TurnSignl. The one thing I'll say here before I run out of time, I like to talk about Harold, who was pulled over at 1:37 in the morning, and he pressed the button, and there was an attorney on the phone with him from TurnSignl in December of last year, before the officer was even at his window, de-escalating the interaction, telling him what he should and shouldn't allow as far as his rights during that interaction. And when the officer came to the window, he said, "Can you turn your phone off?" And Harold said, "I'm using TurnSignl." And he looked at the camera and said, "Okay, you can leave it on then." Because we go out and meet with law enforcement and we say, hey, we're not a cop watch app. We're an app to bridge the gap. We're an app to be here to say, hey, we're here to de-escalate these interactions and it actually make your job easier. So when you see a TurnSignl bumper sticker on the back of a vehicle, you'll feel safer approaching this car than you do in any other interaction you're going to have that day. Harold had a great interaction where he found out his license wasn't valid for not paying court fines. But through that interaction, he protected his rights. And at the culmination, the officer actually said, you know what, why don't you move over to the passenger seat and your passenger can get in the driver's seat and get you home without ticket or incident. At the beginning of that call, when he first got on with the attorney, he turned to his passenger and said, can you call my daughter to let her know I'll be incarcerated in the morning and I want her to know where her dad is. That's the kind of change we can make with TurnSignl by de-escalating these interactions and getting people home safe. The last thing that we always talk about is it's not just individuals. We're partnering with corporations like the Minnesota Vikings, iHeartRadio, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and many others to either offer it to community or to their employees. So that's what TurnSignl is and what we're doing in community. I would love to share more about it if any of you have any questions. But at the end of the day, we always like to say, you know, whether you're driving in a rural road in Minnesota or in the middle of a city like Los Angeles, we want to make sure that these drivers are feeling safe and protected and that all of these interactions are being de-escalated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jazz. You actually had a few more minutes, so, but definitely thank you for going through that. And let's kick off with some questions. So the first question I want to ask is, what is required to go live in a certain state? So you mentioned that you guys are in a few states so far. What's that process like? Is it more so on the government end? Is it on the technology end? What's that requirement? What's that process?
A great question. I should have covered it. When I say we can go live, I could open up a tab here on Chrome and turn on the entire country right now, technology-wise. There's no barrier there. But the beauty of our app is when you press that button, we pull the geolocation and we only connect you with attorneys in your state. Because what is a probable cause of search vehicle in New York is different than Minnesota, right? So you have to have area-specific attorneys answering that call. So really the largest factor for opening in a new state is having a sufficient amount of attorneys to be able to answer calls 24/7. So that's most of the work, but we have, we're a team of 10 here now in Minnesota here at TurnSignl, and we are expanding more and more. It takes about 15 to 20 days of focused work from one individual and less if there's more than one to open in a new state. But we're a little more strategic than that because the marketing is half of the battle. And as you all know, when you're talking to investors and they want to know your customer acquisition cost, if you have a very tight one from a specific market where you spend a specific amount of dollars, that really helps. So that's kind of the phase that we're in right now. And we're announcing that California launch on March 22nd, although we are live now.
Nice. Congrats on that. And as you like you said, you're 18 months old and you continue to see this growth, how has the technology evolved? What was kind of version 1 and now, what is the technology now? Is it fairly the same? How has it transformed, if any?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece that went from the beginning was we were just doing those pullover situations, but expanding to another, very high stress incident is that those car accidents was really important. It helped widen our user base as well. That was one iteration, and the other really is the speed at which we can develop the technology to connect people faster. The speed of connecting to attorneys is really pivotal in these interactions, because if you can talk to the folks before the officer is at the window to find out what really their concern is, that's a pivotal time that you can't have back once officers are at the window already. So that's been really important in our development too, is expediting that process for sure.
Awesome. Thanks. And, you have the audience here, right? What ask or offer do you have for the folks? And I saw another question come in, so I'll ask that right after. But, what is the ask to the New York tech community? What is the ask to anyone watching the replay if they didn't get to see the live video?
Yeah, I think just spreading the word about what we're doing in community, letting people know if they can't afford TurnSignl, it's free to them. That's really the most important thing I always say. We don't want someone's financial situation preventing them from having the app. So if you can't afford it, it's free. So tell anyone and everyone about the app and that they should download it. And even if you aren't in a jurisdiction we're live in, we just have you on a wait list then. And as soon as we're live, we send you an email and let you know you can download the app. That and just connecting with businesses or investors. I know there's going to be a great talk about connecting to investors here in a little bit. Businesses that are interested in offering TurnSignl to their employees. My favorite thing to do is sit down with corporations and here in Minnesota, we saw a lot of people and businesses talking about what they want to do for their employees and for their community. And my favorite thing to do is pull up people's posts you can go check them out, June 1st through June 3rd of 2020. Every business was saying what they're going to do for the Black community, what they're going to do for the inequities in police interactions, what they're going to do for small businesses and Black-owned businesses. And I like to say, hey, here's a great opportunity to partner with one to accomplish all of those goals that you're looking for, whether it's keeping your employees happy and retaining them during the Great Resignation, or whether it's giving this out to communities so people who can't afford it can always have this app. So connecting to businesses, investors, or just individuals to download is our big ask. Find me on LinkedIn, Jazz Hampton. That's the greatest way to connect with me.
Awesome. And our final question for your segment is going to be, is there a contingency plan? So if users can't connect or if their device doesn't work for any reason, like what happens next?
Yeah, it always records no matter what. And I think that's most important. And we always say, the analogy I use is it's kind of like the vaccine, this is better than nothing. And we hope that it works every time. But if not, we know that you were set up for more success than you would had you not been in that position. So it always records no matter what. And recording that and having it saved to the cloud is better than doing it on your camera. It's better than Facebook Live. It's better than anything else. So at the very minimum, you'll have that saved to the cloud at all times, and we can always connect you with an attorney afterwards as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us, Jazz. Everyone, check out TurnSignl.com, TurnSignl.com, and connect with Jazz on LinkedIn. If you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, this is a tool that everyone should be using, and advocate for it to come to your city, state, and town. And if you are a attorney, definitely go and join so that way it could be brought to your state. Right. Up next, we're going to have Boris Moyston from Fundr.ai. So Boris, if you want to go ahead and turn on your camera and your mic and share your presentation.
Hey, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, see you. Do you want to pull up the presentation so I can confirm that before I jump off?
I am going to do a live demo. So I'll just do this and share my screen.
Awesome.
And then I'll stay here for a little bit. Could everyone see?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So my name is Boris Moyston. I'm a co-founder of Fundr. We are a seed investing marketplace, which allows early stage and angel investors to create investment portfolios by investing in founders who typically go overlooked. So Georgie-Ann actually knows me through Black Men Talk Tech and Black Women Talk Tech. And it was through putting together this conference for tech entrepreneurs that we learned about this vast area of minority entrepreneurs that go overfunded. and that is overlooked. And I'll give you an example of what that means in terms of numbers. Of the hundreds of billions of dollars invested in venture every year, 33% of this country, the population of Black and Latinos, receive about 2.5% of that funding. Okay, so we wanted to see if we could change that dynamic, starting with the earliest of companies, the companies that are raising friends and family money, because in the overlooked community, we also don't have wealthy families that are going to give us the startup funding to get up and running, right? Mom's not going to give me $500,000 to go. So one of the things we thought about was, why not create our own platform where we could help angel investors develop their own angel portfolios with tons of good companies. And on the other side, we just go out and find ton of good companies to apply and to get on the platform. So that's what we built. We built a marketplace where early stage companies could apply. We have an algorithm that grades all these companies. And if you pass the algorithm and if you pass our investment committee, you get listed on our platform, which I'll show you in a second. And on the other side, we have verified accredited investors who then come on the platform and look to invest. So it's that simple. And I'll show you how it works. Right now, we are transitioning. We're taking on our latest cohort of companies. We have about somewhere between 700 and 800 companies applying to get on right now. And I think we're close on allowing about 100 of them to join. So we have one deal on the platform right now, and that's our deal. We're raising $1 million, so you'll see what that looks like. But this is my admin panel. So when I get on, I can see the startups, I can see investors, I could create portfolios, I could work out any transfer problems that our investors are having when they're transferring on the app. But in essence, if I were an investor, I'd be able to hit this. Let's do that. Let me go and take a look at a real investor right now on our platform. We'll look at my profile, right? So I'm not breaking any laws and getting in trouble. I'm going to log in as that investor, and I'm going to go to Discover. So like I said, there's only one investor on one company being funded. In reality, we got a bunch of other groups that are here, but I'm only going to show you this because every other deal is live and private, and this is the live platform. And this is one of the companies. Let's say if you went to the platform as an investor, you were approved, you'd get to see this one pager, and it gives you a little overview of the company and the founders. It lets you know who their competitors are. So this is Fundr, our competitors, We Fundr, Republic, Funders Club, etc. If you want to chat with one of the founders, you'll hit this chat button. And if you're ready to invest now, it lets you know that we've raised up to $100,000 previously. We're raising $1 million now. It lets you know our security type, and then you could hit invest now. However, you probably won't hit invest now. You'd probably want to read an overview of the company. You want to see some performance metrics, and you want to figure out, well, are they generating revenue? They did raise some money. What type of investor? It was an institutional investor, and then you'll get to learn about any accolades or accelerators that we participated in. The other thing you're going to want to see is you're going to want to go to our data room. And this is where you could see stuff like our past investment agreements, right? You'll just click on this and it'll pop up. You can see agreements we have with our PR company or our pitch deck, or maybe you want to see our financials. So you just click it and the financials will then pop up. It looks like we have it stored in Excel, and it's that simple. Same thing with the deck. If you want to see the deck pops up, and I can take you through this, which I won't bore you with right now. I think I closed the window, so let me go back in real quick. Discover. Okay, so now you may be interested in investing, so you may want to take a look at the terms. You may want to take a look at the terms that we have. Most of our deals are safe notes and convertibles. Here we have, you see, we're raising $1 million, $6 million valuation. It's a cash deal at equity. So it's really that simple. You go back to the one pager if you're interested. You hit invest now, and you could start investing. So from this page, it then takes you to an investment agreement once you type in the amount you're interested in, and then a transfer page where you actually transfer the funds. Again, live platform, so I'm not going to do that here. Go back to my account. That's basically the demo. Like I said, we have about, let's see, live right now, about 700, somewhere between 700 and 800, so 748 companies on the platform. In terms of investors, we have about 28 and 200, about 250 approved investors on our platform, and we're about to go to our next round to to raise some additional money and to get additional investors on. How has the business changed? We essentially used to be just a marketplace, and what happened last year was several of our investors were angel groups and accelerators, and they asked if they could come onto the platform and take a tour like I just did. So they toured our admin panel, they toured the startup profile, and then they toured the investor profile. And then they said, we love this. Could we white label it? And after saying no for a long time, one of them threw out $1, amount for us to customize a white label product for them. And we said, okay, we need money. We're a startup. So we built it out. And from that point out, since we had that framework built, we started to allow other enterprises to use what we call our enterprise SaaS model now. So now we have accelerator, angel groups, alumni investing groups, community investing groups, creating their own version of Fundr on our platform and having their own community of investors and startups come on, and they are investing together. So we have our own marketplace, and now this other way we scaled, where there are several other marketplaces on our platform as well. So that's our story. And if you'd like to see the platform and go on as an investor, go to app.fundr.ai. That's app.fundr.ai, and Fundr is Fundr. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Boris, for that overview of Fundr. And as Boris mentioned, we did meet through the Black Men Talk Tech and Black Women Talk Tech associations, which are great organizations that are doing a lot of work in this space for Black and female founders, Black male and female founders. That was a little tongue twister. So to kick off, I do have a question for you, Boris, here. How has Fundr seen investments increase? Again, you haven't been doing this version for a long time since you've pivoted and added on these different features. But, do you have any data on what has transpired in this time that you have been allowing folks to, see the decks on the backside and just be more connected to the funders and the investors and the companies?
Yeah. Do you hear my kids screaming in the background? They're playing.
It's very faint. It's very faint. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay. Good. So, so this is what we've seen, right? So we're working with a lot of large groups too. So, sometimes we talk a lot with the team at the ACA, the largest angel groups in the country, and the general feedback in terms of how tastes is changing for investors is they want to see a few things. They want to see traction. That's number one. But number two, especially since some of these companies are really early, they want to see another vote of confidence, which is that you've raised 30 to 40% of your round already, which is not easy to do. But I'm just letting you know what the market's like. The investors are more likely to want to participate in rounds if you've raised a certain percentage. So of those 700 companies that were on our platform that I just showed you, 7,800, when I sent out a survey recently, and those companies recently came on in the last, I would say, 2 months, right? I sent out a survey for them to figure out how much they're raising, what type of round and instrument they're using. But also what's important to us is what percentage have you raised to date, right? And about 50% of them had at least raised somewhere between 20 to 50% of the funds. So that alone, before I even look at your application, sends a signal to me that something is right here. And that's a bias. Now I got to go in and dig into the data and figure out if that's indeed true. A good portion of the time, these people have something and it's indeed true. So that's one big thing that's changed. The other thing that's changed is a lot of these other investment communities on the other side of the business want to move to digital. There are some old standing digital platforms out there like AngelList. They don't really help with the complete deal managing process. And that's exactly what they have asked us to build. We weren't looking for the business. The business just came like knocking down the door. So in addition to giving out that SaaS version, they've also asked us to build on a special purpose vehicle option as well. So now we have SPVs where an angel group who invest together can invest in the SPV at once. So we partnered with Loon Creek Capital to get that done. So those are ways that we've seen investors change their demands and tastes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Boris. And we know, reallocating the funds and the funding that is out there is very critical and important. We are at time. So folks, if you have additional questions for Boris or you're ready to check out and try Fundr, head on over to appapp.fundr. So Fundr.ai. All this information is going to be in, if you're joining the live event, it's in the chat. If you're watching the replay, it's going to be in the description section of this video. So, and then you could also connect with Boris on LinkedIn. So up next, we're going to have Neville from Soulful Silverback, and just a little bit about this organization. So Neville actually works to help connect businesses with software and SaaS solutions on the business development end. So Neville himself is not a tech company, but he works directly with tech-enabled companies and helps other companies become tech-enabled. So Neville, you go ahead, dive into your demo and your presentation, and then I will jump off screen when it's up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I am going to share my screen. As Georgie-Ann mentioned, my name is Neville Louison. I'm really excited to be able to chat with you today.
Did you already hit share, Neville? Yeah, I don't see it yet. Sorry about that.
Thank you for that. Let's see if...
Yes. Okay, it's up now. Awesome. I'm going to hop off and the stage is yours.
Cool. Take two. Hi, my name is Neville. I'm really excited to be here with you all today to talk a little bit more about CRM consulting services. So kind of just go quickly through just agenda, go through quick background, just my history, also go through just a quick overview of the CRM industry, some of the challenges that a lot of really early stage startups face from setting up their CRM, as well as kind of the services that I offer, the experience that I've had, and the next steps. But with that, we'll jump right in. So a little bit of an eye chart here, but as I shared earlier, my name is Neville Louison. If you start over on the left side of the slide, you'll kind of understand I'm a Brooklyn born, bred native, and I still live in Fort Greene, New York, Brooklyn, New York. I went to Hofstra, where I kind of spent my 3 years of my college career there, really focused on coming out of school and really kind of, making my parents proud. And that's kind of what you see there on the left side of the slide. My mom is a migrant from Puerto Rico, effectively, and was raised in Brooklyn. And my dad is from Grenada. And they met at a party in Brooklyn. And I share that because it helped me start my career at American Express ultimately. And really what I was able to gain there was a lot of really great partnerships experience, kind of understanding on Wall Street how partnerships work with big box retailers. I then moved on after 7 years at American Express and a really exciting project that I took in Sydney to manage a retail technology project. And that really got me excited while I was living in Sydney, focused on the Singaporean marketplace to really get excited about technology. And at that time, Salesforce was looking to start their retail vertical in New York. And so I was the second hire on the retail team. And so I really got to operate within a small team within a large company, and really see us grow the vertical out at that time from almost nothing into kind of the big behemoth that it has become today. After 3 years there, I moved on to Microsoft, where I got a view of their CRM for about 2 years and got to understand the intricacies of that CRM ecosystem. And then I moved over to Sprinklr, where I worked and was really focused on social media and kind of focused on social media technology and the intersection of that from a retail and entertainment perspective. During the height of the pandemic, after having some success at Sprinklr, I decided to move over to the Netherlands, where I lived in Amsterdam for a year, and I actually just moved back about in August of last year. And while I was in Amsterdam, kind of just taking some time, it was very crazy time in the US, as kind of, Jazz had shared earlier. I needed a little bit of a break. And in doing so, I met a Salesforce consultant in the Netherlands who worked with the UN and was looking to expand his Salesforce consultancy across the globe. And so I was working with him to stand up his sales organization. And that was really the birthings of the consulting piece of the Silverback business. And so with that, I came back to the States in August to work on a 6-month project where I worked with a former client of mine to help stand up their sales organization across people, process, and technology. And that kind of brings me to like a CRM overview, right? Kind of like Legos. We hearing some of the kids earlier, but it can be really intricate in terms of you can step on these Legos sometimes and you can hurt and it could mess up. And so with that, the CRM industry is really chaotic, right? And so when you think about it, how cluttered it is across software providers, right? Salesforce, Microsoft, across implementation partners, who's going to implement, self-implement, as well as all these third-party applications that do create barriers toward extracting the value. And then it also just takes a ton of time, right? You're an early stage startup, being able to take the time to be able to build and integrate the CRM is challenging. Thirdly, from a vision standpoint, I've had the great fortune of now kind of being under the hood of hundreds of some of the largest companies and smallest companies to really understand how their CRM works. And I've been able to see what are some of the best practices for those industries to be able to thrive really well from a back-end CRM infrastructure. So that's given me a good amount of vision to be able to design and prescribe a number of different orgs. And then finally, you can have a vision, but you also need to be able to execute on that vision. And that's where I can help guide from a change management perspective, how to be able to make those changes from a CRM perspective, which has kind of led to a lot of challenges in the industry, especially at early stage startups where you have a lot of ambiguity in terms of sales processes that are not established, or organizations that lack the sales tools to promote healthy cross-functional collaboration, right? Thinking about growth, they face headwinds as they think about moving from basic tools like Excel to more robust platforms like Salesforce, so on and so forth. And that really leaves them and it doesn't enable them to really wrap their arms around their customers and develop strategic relationships at such an early and crucial stage. Most importantly, though, I think, is that from a data perspective, being able to aggregate and collect these sales metrics and data really enables for future success. And so I've seen a lot of companies, both small and large, really, short-sight themselves from that perspective and not collecting the data. So really quick, here's what I provide, right? Able to come in from a research perspective to conduct discovery across the organization to better understand all the pain points and all the opportunities from a sales perspective, identify those gaps from a process movement perspective as well, so that we can solve for them, collaborate and align on strategic outcomes, both with leadership as well as for folks who are the end users, provide go forward recommendations on how to implement this, enhance the end-to-end design of the sales process, and evaluate CRM partners. So there's thousands of CRM partners in the ecosystem. Being able to evaluate the talent that's needed for that particular organization is a skill set in and of itself. And then finally, most importantly, which is really where I drive the most value for the business, is really around leading commercial negotiations for both the Salesforce and Microsoft software. Those discounts are kind of tattooed in my mind, as well as kind of for the consulting services that go along with implementing that service, having that experience now, having seen every aspect of the CRM industry has given me a unique view on the CRM space. So just to really quick share a little bit about my experiences, I'll build this up because I know I got no time, but just want to share this. Worked on tons of different size of companies, whether it be small, medium, or large. And then next steps, here's how you can reach out to me, find my email, so we can talk about scoping your project.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Neville, for that presentation. And to just jump in with a quick question, I have one question here before we jump over to the next demo. We are running close on time, so thank you for that. Is, what have you seen the most since you started Soulful Silverback as like impacting these companies, as like you said, startups as well as like small or medium-sized companies grow? How often do they usually have this stuff set up? Is it usually missing? So what is like the top thing that you've seen through your experience working at both the corporates and working with like the startups?
Top thing I've seen is that bad data in, bad behaviors out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you start building on bad data from a CRM perspective, the outcomes that come out of that, whether you're raising investment as a small company, whether you're growing as a medium size, or whether you're looking to enhance as a large company, making sure that data process flow is not only clean, but that it's good data is something that every company messes up on, and one that I come in and really enjoy kind of untangling that knot, if you will. So thanks so much for the time.
Yes, because like we know, data drives dollars and data drives the decisions that we need to make as startups, as any size corporation, organization. So it's really important to have that data. So thank you so much, Neville, and for the work that you do. And to close us out for the night, we'll have Devon Dixon from BingeWave that's about to come up. And this is a very important time to talk about companies like Devon's, where it is all about, connecting folks in this virtual ecosystem. We all saw what COVID pandemic had forced us to do. So I'll pass it over to Devin. Did you want to bring up your screen before I jump off? Awesome.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, I want to share my screen. And can you see it?
Okay. Yes, I can see it. It's like the loop.
All right.
Alrighty. I'm gonna have all yours.
And that's actually a good segue of the importance of virtual interaction. Part of what I'm doing with BingeWave came around when we are a live immersive app builder is that I teach coding boot camps, and like teaching online was not the same, especially using Zoom. I couldn't have the same interaction with students. So I started making like a little coding pad built into the live stream. And then I wanted to see how far I could take a product like this. And that was kind of the inception. So right now on my screen, you have like the bottom, which is me. My video can be on the left, right, or the top or in the center where I wanted to. But then we have these things called widgets. And widgets are basically interactive components that you could add on to the screen dynamically. So let's add a game of like tic-tac-toe example. So I click add the widget. Then once it gets down here, I can decide what user has access to it and then where it's going to appear on screen. These are all the slots that I can place it on screen. So I'll pick the staging container, and up in a second will pop up a game of tic-tac-toe. And then now me and another player can come in, and we can actually in real time start to play each other. So that's just one example. We find we mostly are currently used in education. Like I was saying before, I'm a teacher at boot camps. So with education, let's go over the widgets here, and let's integrate this shared on-screen notepad. And then let's also integrate a quiz. So I'm going to put the quiz in the left side, and I'm going to put the shared notepad on the staging area. And then both of these will pop up. So now when I'm teaching, I can actually give the students a quiz in real time. Or this is the interactive code pad, where me and the students at the same time can, me as a teacher, I can code and put in variables, and the students can actually download the code or make adjustments on screen, and then we can have more of an interactive session. So this thing is adjustable to anything you want it to be. Another good example of this is me integrating 2D and 3D models into the live stream, because we're going to get into like 3D AR stuff coming up soon. Or another example of where we place is a side menu. I'm placing a text chat, so users can text each other. So yeah, this whole thing is completely customizable. So when someone has fully made their experience out, it doesn't live here. It actually lives on their app or inside their website. So we do that through something called in Embed Codes. And so these are two sites I'm going to show you in a second, but embed codes are basically like you can copy and paste these codes directly into any like WordPress site, Drupal, Glide app, Shopify, and then up will come your experience. So for example, on this site, we have this player, we have the food, we have like products with chat. Everything in here is simply powered by copying these right into the web page. And this is how it looks behind the scene, where this whole site just made up these little embed widgets. Another example of our app is that for live shopping, one of our segments is you can do things like put a product to appear on screen in real time when someone's giving a demonstration, and then users can interact with those on-screen products. We also integrate into app builders. So something, for example, like Glide apps. This is a no-code app builder. You just simply copy and paste your Ooh, I got a little echo there. Your link into something like Glide apps, and then your app will be working as well. And the last thing I want to show is that we have a developers portal where developers are able to create their own widgets and actually get paid for them. So as an organization, you can actually another developer widget to integrate it into your application and not have to actually code stuff. And we use that to really rapidly expand the offerings that we have as widgets. And for developers to make a widget is actually really easy. It's simply CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. I might be getting too technical here, but let me give you an example how easy to update this. So I'm gonna put the tic-tac-toe on the grid layout and the audience container. So, I have this title right here. If I wanted to free a developer to make changes, I simply have to come up here, I have no little HTML. I can say like, hello, New York Tech Meetup. I save it. And then as a developer, my changes will be updated in my app in real time.
Get with 10 to 12 ounces of chilled water. We've got our bottle, we've got our smoothie, so let's get shaken.
Sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, as a developer, it's easy for me to do this upgrade and deploy stuff. So that's my presentation. Currently, our focus is live shopping, education, esports, telehealth, and creatives. We have a lot of customers, mostly in those 5 segments, and we currently have been funded by Google Black Founders Fund and Hustle Fund. So that's our company.
Thank you so much, Devin, for that demonstration. And through that, you see the power of the technology that is behind BingeWave. As you mentioned, your focus is on education. Is there any other sectors that you've seen really thrive using BingeWave?
Yeah, live shopping in esports.
And what are some of the I guess maybe like the top 2 favorite features for the live the esports? Let's go there. And we've seen like a lot of transitions with esports, especially as now the sports betting has now become more popular. Have you guys seen any connection with that? And audience, feel free to drop any questions that you may have as well.
Yeah, our most popular stuff from esports is integrating NFTs into esports for just to have exclusive access, buying stuff during esports competitions.
Awesome. And what would you say is like the turnaround time if like a company, sees hears about BingeWave today? How fast is it to get something set up, get it functioning, get it working, and having, let's say like a shopping, the live shopping?
It's incredibly fast. Like literally this weekend, I'm on board an education company in like 45 minutes, and they had their app fully integrated into the LMS. So it can be incredibly fast.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for folks that want to connect with Devin and learn more about BingeWave, again, just head on over to BingeWave.com, as well as connect with Devin on LinkedIn. And Devin, you're still sharing the screen. I just wasn't sure if you knew. So yes, we have you here on LinkedIn. And this is a service that I think everyone, as we know, we grow our companies and we saw that, what happened when we went online. You want to have that customization. You want to be able to continuously build and using different technology solutions to make that happen. So thank you so much to all of our demoers for tonight. I'm just going to bring back up my slide. One moment, everyone. Here we go. So thank you so much for everyone that demoed tonight. Devin from BingeWave, Jazz from TurnSignl, Boris from Fundr, and Neville from Soulful Silverback. And again, my name is Georgie-Ann Getton, and I was your host for tonight. I am the CEO and founder of GSD Solutions, as well as I am a part of the New York Tech Alliance board. We can't wait to see you next month for our March meetup. It's March already, for our April meetup. So if you're catching this live, definitely look out on our website, nytech.org, for the next meetup that will be happening in April. And if you are catching the replay, hope you enjoyed this month, as well as definitely sign up for our March meetup. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Another shout out to our amazing sponsors, all of our amazing speakers. And if you have any questions about New York Tech Meetup in general, just reach out to us at nytech.org. Thank you and good night. Oh, and hang out if you're in the live session, hang out for the network.